So we've all seen the news. Protests breaking out across the nation, people clashing with the police, rioting and looting. But what are we not seeing on the news? The Black Lives Matter movement and Black liberation movements have not been portrayed accurately over the last few months. We at Urban Plains are hoping to change that by speaking with organizers who are on the front lines of these movements doing good work in our communities.
Some of the craziest things probably in this work that I've had to deal with is when George Floyd died. So many white supremacist groups came in. The whole city was basically in anarchy, and we were still on the front lines, and we had the police shooting riot stuff at us. People were shooting guns all over. People were getting killed all over.
June 22nd, when they kettled us, that was pretty dangerous. The police and the sheriffs chasing us all the way back from east. So imagine downtown by the Capitol and literally getting kettled trying to walk across the bridge. So we were literally being chased.
I was actually shot in my face when I was 14. Because all I saw was these two guys pull up in a car. I'm on a bike. My friend is on his bike on my way home. And the individual that was driving the car, he had a screen mask on. And he told his friend to lean the seat back. And I was just going to give him my bike. So I was getting up off of my bike. And as I was getting up, he shot me in the face. So I actually have a bullet right here on my face.
Oh, as a very young boy, probably when I was about 3-4 years old, this lady, she was calling us little and they were throwing pine cones at us. And I was like, what?
And this is something that the media has not shown, is while we've been out here protesting, we've had over 30 plus guns pulled on us just by literally walking through neighborhoods, leaving people alone, staying off properties, things like that. I mean, there's been death threats. We have individuals following us home. We have
people on the front lines with shotguns.
People in the front lines with shotguns.
I had literally 10 to 15,000 people sitting down on the bridge. And as they were sitting down on the bridge, I was meeting the mayor of Minneapolis, Jacob Fry. And as I was going to go meet him, the semi truck came through the barrier and had his horn laying on the horn. And it was a tanker full of gas. And he, literally went 70 miles per hour through the crowd of 10,000 people.
And I've always said since my brother's been killed, I wouldn't be put in this position to do what I do if it wasn't for his death. So I just try to do whatever I can in the community for the youth. I make sure that, we scream Seville's name, and I shed the light on what type of person that he was.
I've been fighting for justice for about 10 years, way prior, not only with the disparities being in Minnesota, growing up all my life, I've always been one to speak out on the behalf of myself and others that look like me. What really got me started was, you would see killings like, Philando Castile and Alton Sterling, Tamir Rights and stuff like that. And you're like, what in the world is going on? And I've had multiple police pull guns on me and, almost shoot me and stuff for petty things. So I knew what the reality was. I was the first one to report George Floyd actually being murdered. I went down to the police station at City Hall and I said, enough is enough. It's time to arrest the cops. And the police chief and everybody was looking at me crazy. And I had the news people following me.
The People's Revolution has marched peacefully for 100 plus consecutive days throughout Milwaukee, Wauwatosa, and Kenosha, as we call for police accountability and to end police brutality against Black and brown Wisconsinites and the removal of dangerous, immoral law enforcement personnel. And while we also assert that all lives can't matter until Black lives matter. So my overall goal is to get a ban on police immunity.
I was actually going over a quote by Eldridge Cleaver. I was reading Soul on Ice. Eldridge Cleaver, he's a Black Panther. And he said, if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. And at that time, I was really fixated on education being the very, very, very core issue in American discourse right now. Is I felt like lack of education, as in we're whitewashing our education.
Well, and we had about 30,000 people with us, and we were walking through downtown Minneapolis, And it was just massive. It was the biggest protest we've ever had in history.
So I saw on Facebook right after George Floyd was unfortunately murdered, an individual put it out saying, hey, we're meeting at this spot, come show up, like bring signs, bring everything. I knew what I was doing was right, because it's a human rights issue. Like we shouldn't be judging people based on the color of their skin, because it's not something anyone can control.
I recently did a book bag drive. I do one every year on the day that he was killed, August 13th. This year I raised over 1,500 book bags. I gave away 800 book bags with supplies. And day of the same day he was killed.
I would say that I've definitely made an impact within the city of Minneapolis and the metropolitan area. You know, I fed like 30,000 people this summer, like the homeless and stuff like that.
First grade, I was taught treat others the way you want to be treated. And I truly always try to live by that. I mean, I don't care what your religion is, your background, your skin color. My parents, they always taught us, treat people right.
I do stand on the premise that Black is beautiful and Black is proud. Black, brown, Black and brown, I feel like we should emphasize and not stigmatize that.
So actually, it was not all men are created equal, because it's similar to All Lives Matter. And, obviously, do all lives matter? Absolutely. But the problem is that we're saying that into response to things like George Floyd and Breonna Taylor. So they're only doing it as far as an excuse or a defense mechanism to not have that deep conversation and saying, well, come on now. Breonna Taylor was asleep in her bed. An EMT, essential worker on the front lines, and she gets killed. Come on.
Saying is that I've been through so many things in my life, and they've been tragic things, but I've always been able to come out triumphant and to keep going. And I've always wanted to install that in our future.
For me, it's not about black or white. We're white, I'm light brown, but for me, it's all about humanity.
I just say challenge the news. Be a voice for the voiceless. Be the media that you don't see. All lives can't matter until Black lives matter. And that's what we need, you guys to help amplify.